are more optimistic than ever about how the president is navigating the economy. New Fox News poll shows 52% of Americans approve of President Trump's handling of the economy. Here to weigh in, Denver-based radio host Ross Kaminsky. Ross, good to see you as always, my friend. Thank you. This is my question. You've got the Dow and stock markets near record highs, unemployment near record lows, huge innovation in places like Denver where you live. 52% of Americans approve how the president's handling the economy. What are the other 48% complaining about?
Well, so a lot of the issues where Donald Trump interacts with foreign countries in any way, so trade, immigration, foreign policy generally, they're a little more negative about. But I also think some of it is just no matter what President Trump does, some people are just bound and determined in their own minds, I'm just not going to like this guy. And we saw it with other presidents as well, but more with Trump than with others. And it remains to be seen, are they going to vote based on whether they like him or whether they like 3.8% unemployment?
It's fascinating that you bring that up. Our friends over at Axios pulled up these data points that were pretty profound. That is, if you were to forecast the 2018 midterms historically by presidential approval, the GOP would lose 68 seats. View of the economy, based it off the polls we just showed you, the GOP would gain 55 seats. There has to be something in the middle there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. I think it sounds trite, but it's going to come down to who's more motivated. It has felt like Democrats were more motivated to get out to the polls in this cycle than Republicans. But the problem for Democrats is they're not really giving people a reason to vote for them other than just saying, I'm not this guy or I don't support this guy. And that's not usually enough.
A lot of the complaints you hear about President Trump are almost more about style than they are about substance. Foreign policy, he gets high marks for going to Kim Jong-un in Singapore and sitting down for this meeting, but Americans are still skeptical. Take a look at this. Will North Korea ever give up its nukes? Now 28% versus 60 no. March 2018, 16%, 76 said no. So you've had about 12% more Americans now say they might give up their nukes. In terms of midterm election politics, how important are you seeing this summit?
I think it's enormous. I think Donald Trump has staked a lot of his own credibility on it as a deal maker. And when this first started going on, a lot of people are saying this is very high stakes and it's going to lead to war or not. And I don't really think that's the area where it's high stakes. I think it's actually high stakes for domestic politics. I think Trump has a lot riding on this. And to the extent that his numbers are kind of negative in areas that deal with international relations, this is a way where he can change that almost overnight.
Even hawkish members of the Republican caucus up on Capitol Hill, even hawkish members who are fans of President Trump, worry that for just the reasons you point out, the president will have deal-itis, essentially being willing to do anything that Kim Jong-un wants to get a deal, even if, in many view, it would be a bad deal. Agree?
I don't agree. I think that Barack Obama was that guy, and I think that Donald Trump actually said explicitly, maybe it was yesterday, I'm willing to walk away. I did it once before. I'm willing to walk away again. And I think it's more important for Donald Trump's own psyche as well as the politics.
But hold on, Ross.
I think it's better to get a good deal than no deal.
Okay, well, just to push back on this, the president said he was willing to walk away from a deal with ZTE, among others with the Chinese, and so many now, even Republicans are saying he rolled over on that one.
And I think he did. I agree with that criticism.
So why do you trust him now that he's willing to hold out for a good deal with North Korea when you're saying he rolled over with China?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think the difference is that the North Korea thing is so much more out in public than ZTE. You know, those of us who pay a lot of attention to politics and that thing kind of notice that. The public, not so much. This thing, it's everything that not just America's talking about, the world's talking about it, and I think Trump will think about it differently. I also think he did the ZTE thing in order to get a little bit more pressure help from China behind the scenes on the North Korea thing. So that's my take there.
Well, we've seen the Chinese use North Korea as leverage in these trade deals. Ross, thanks for being with us. We could talk to you a lot longer. We know you're headed to Singapore. So if this summit keeps stretching out like the president has said it might, you're